to delay U.S. tariff hikes. Let's see what happens. 3:12 p.m. on the 25th, 2019. Zero Delta with 17 saying you were on the right track. Okay. Hello, everybody. How we doing today? Happy Thursday on this fabulous week that we are having. Great weather here in California. I don't know about where you folks are, but glad to have the. Let me get rid of that there. Glad to, and I do have to. Let me see. Hold on one second. and I will show you what we're looking at here. We are looking at 1,175 beautiful human beings joining us here tonight. Let me take you there so I can also take off a few things like this and this, and return this and this. All right, everybody. Welcome. My name is David Snedeker. This is The Indoctrination. As people continue to flow into the beautiful Snedeker Theater here, home of the Snedheads and the Head Sned, welcome. This is the, I don't know, 520th broadcast or something in that ballpark. Hold on one second. What's going on? I want to make sure I'm not hitching here. It was telling me I was having an issue there. Okay. So we're over almost closing in on 1,300 people in the theater. Grab a seat. Bring in your, check your coat. Let's imagine if you're new here, please let us know. We'd love to say hello and welcome you. We do a process here called checking our coat, and imagine you're coming in out of the cold and you're coming into a beautiful, warm, comfortable theater with a couple thousand other people, and you don't want to wear your big, bulky coat, so you imagine all of our preconceived notions, our unconscious bias, our indoctrination, our ego in that coat, and we just take it off and we check it at the coat check, get our claim ticket, grab a favorite drink, grab our favorite person, our favorite you, favorite pet, and come on in, favorite snack, come on in and enjoy ourselves for the next couple hours. Probably going to be under 3 hours this evening, as that is my goal right now. We've done, many shows, 7-8 hours long, as we dig into the finding out exactly what's going on in the world, and we're going to do that a little bit with a little more brevity, and so we can get in and get out with some great information. So welcome. I wanted to start off with just, going to a bigger picture here, if we could. All right. Imagine, if you will, and oh, by the way, I did want to say, I saw people giving Vicky condolences, and I just wanted to find out what happened. Hello from Florida, Luna. How are you? Let's see. Hold on. Thank you, Selena. What is the surprise or two? Bonnie couldn't wait, could she? Could not wait. Let me see. Let me find. I'm not on D Live tonight. Hold on. Yeah, it's showing 117 on D Live right now. Yeah, we got 117 on D Live. And YAZ is on. So yeah, we're and then we've got Facebook, both The Indoctrination and David Snedeker, and YouTube. Dave Sned is back up and running. I'm grateful for that. Thank you, YouTube. And Periscope, we're up to 14 on Periscope. Now, Periscope, we lose in, I think, March. They end the show. Cheers, everybody. So in March, I think Periscope is going bye-bye. But by then, we'll be on multiple platforms. Thank you for your donations. I'll get to those later. But also, if you have a donation or you want me to say anything on air, please let me know in the donation. And also, I just wanted to say, if you want to go to the get us to the next level here with the channel, you can help that. You can help make that happen, because we're looking to go through Roku, Apple TV, and that's really taking it up another step, because we'd have our own channel. We would not be censored. So that's the goal there. So you can help that along. Excuse me. Let's see. Vicky had pleaded with her dad not to take the vaccine. He will be buried with military honors and a 21 gun salute next Tuesday. Vicky, are you saying that he took the vaccine and died? Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Is that what happened? Yeah. Welcome all newbies. Enjoy the broadcast, and here we are. I'm so sorry, Vicky, that that's the case. Wow, wow. We'll keep your father in our prayers and your whole family tonight, please, guys. Keep them in your prayers. And so, yeah. And wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. You know, it because I've heard a lot of stories, and I've also heard that you know, and for that to happen with somebody in our community, I'm so sorry to hear that. So many people are taking it, and they're pushing it. They're pushing it hard. They're pushing it hard, and we're going to. Yes, I did hear that the gender equity. That's unbelievable. They passed the gender equity bill in the House. So, okay, let's step back for a second and just shake that off for a minute. And just wanted to say that can we take just kind of a bigger look at what's happening here? And I want us to just, if for a moment, rise above the 3D, the bullshit that's happening down here, and rise up here above it, 40,000 foot view, next level, next dimension, if we could, and just look at the whole of humanity since the beginning of time. Yeah. And imagine, don't even have to imagine, but just guess I'm saying to picture what actually transpired on this planet before we got here. We still don't know the age of the planet. We don't know if it's, you know, humanity is tens of thousands of years old or millions of years old. And why don't we know that? Because so much of that information has been kept from us. I mean, we found fossils of giants. We found fossils of smaller people. We found fossils that date back, carbon dating, millions of years, but we're not hearing about it. It's not, going mainstream because there's so much about what actually happened on this planet that we don't know about. By the way, I look forward to getting into that with you more. That's going to be on another platform because some of the things we're going to get into are not going to be very welcome in places like YouTube. So, but I look forward to getting into that with you, and I've been thinking about doing it in a way that we do it after we feel like the pressure valve is released from what we're experiencing right now. And because what we're experiencing right now, it's easy to kind of get caught in it, this gender equity bullshit. We've gone to war now. I guess we're bombing other countries in the Middle East again. We're seeing a gender neutral or a transgender who on the seat of sitting on the floor of the House, being grilled, of the Senate being grilled as a nominee for health secretary. And so this is we're in bizarro world here, folks. And so the reason I'm asking us to take a bigger bigger picture look at this is because this is a fight for humanity. And I know you know this, but it's so important for us to keep our heads during this battle, during this fight, okay? Because everything that's going on, you could easily be bandied back and forth, frustrated, angry, exhausted, pissed off, disappointed. There are so many emotions that you could go back and forward, elated one day, down the next. And it's difficult to fight well, fight efficiently when you're being controlled by your emotions. And we've already seen how that can be very detrimental on the left with this social justice posturing that has been going on, and all these emotions that come up around Orange Man bad and all these things that make us realize that there's an irrationality in their hatred towards the right, the hatred towards President Trump, the hatred towards conservatives, the hatred towards patriots. Doesn't even make any sense that we have patriots in this country that are hated and being marginalized because we love our country. People who are white that are being marginalized because they're white. Men being marginalized because they're men. Okay, children being made to feel bad about who they are, their gender. We're living in a bizarro world, and that's why it's so important for us to not allow all these ridiculous things that are happening to control us, to guide us in a way that doesn't serve us, right? And so I really, think we would benefit by just kind of taking a 40,000-foot view and looking down on it and just enjoying the show. Like, look at the absurdity there, okay? Now, if things don't shift, okay, first of all, we've got to awaken more people. We've got to understand some of the things I talked about last night, that we have to figure out, where are we placing our dollars? Because if we continue to place our dollars in the direction of non-organic food, every dollar we spend not eating GMO and pesticide-laden foods, we are harming ourselves, our children, but we're also supporting Monsanto, Gates, Bayer, all these companies that mean to do us harm, mean to depopulate us, mean to make us sick, okay? And so if we don't understand that that is where our power lays, in the dollar with which we spend on our sustenance, our drinks, our food, our water, our just everything across the board, our clothing, our electronics. Now, it's going to be a slow shift away from China, but we need to make that shift. And the American people and the people of the world need to call for this. We need to, basically start to shift our behavior, because our behavior is supporting these corporations and these governments that do not support us and actually want us dead and want us sickly. And that's what's happening. And so if we can just kind of pull up, and look down and say, wow, what a shit show. And in that process, try to keep our family and our friends and ourselves safe from this nonsense. Okay? Just like any war, there are casualties. And Vicky's father, unfortunately, is a casualty in this war. And it's an information war, because when when the indoctrination so heavily just drip, 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 drip on how the vaccination is so good for you and so important for us to take. And we're getting it. I mean, I'm going to show you some of it tonight. It's just unbelievable. But yes, when Trump gets back, this will change, Gina. Absolutely. This will all change. And all the people that were a part of this, not only will they fall and then will they lose credibility and will they go to prison, but their industry. Think about this. What's going to happen to Western medicine when this is all said and done? What's going to happen with big agriculture? Okay, when we realize that all the food is poisoned. What's going to happen to the municipalities that have been poisoning our water supply? What's going to happen to Hollywood when we realize that all these people have been doing horrendous crimes against humanity and living off ADRENOCHROME? What's going to happen to mainstream media? All the newspapers, the magazines, the television. Okay, what's going to happen to all the politicians and the way things are structured when we've been lied to? Right? What's going to happen to all those people that were involved in the election situation? Okay, because right now the desperation from the mainstream media, the desperation from the politicians, is one of, like I said last night, either if it's black hat controlled, their desperation, they're trying to cling on for dear life. If it's white hat controlled, they're trying to show the population, what we believe, that this is not the direction we can go as a country. And so that's when it becomes very, very apparent that that the people that did vote for, yes, I will check out Flynn on Telegram. Thank you, Beverly. Um, and when we realize that all these people have actually been lying to us and meaning to do us harm, what do you think is going to happen to those industries? They're losing all credibility, credibility, without question. Without question, they're losing credibility. So I want to get right into some things here. Let's see. Oh, by the way, what's going to happen to Wall Street? Look what's happening in Wall Street. Wall Street is crashing. What's going to happen to the banks? Okay, this is all changing as we speak here, guys. We're up over 2,100 beautiful humans. Welcome. I'm David Snedeker. This is the Indoctrination, and I am looking forward to spending the next couple hours with you, and we're going to get into some things that have been happening today that is very very telling, and we will get into it right now. All right, first thing I want to show you is let me bring us up here. Hold on a second. And how you all doing tonight? Oh, I did say I had some surprises for you. Okay. Here's a couple surprises. All right. Let's see. Hold on a sec. We're gonna got some questions. Okay. Okay. What about Iran? Is this true or a movie? I want to talk about the military here for a second. Thank you for that question. You guys are flying by with your questions, with your comments. I love you all, by the way. I love you very much. I do. And I say that because you are my fellow humans, and we are here together in this battle. And we are on this battleground, and we are doing our best to alert others as to what's really going on in the world. And so we are in the foxhole together. And by the way, Foxhole will be one of the broadcast locations for our Truthcast. And we will love you. I love you guys. Awesome. Yes. Look at all that love. Look at all that love. Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, guys. Um, no, Martha, my wife is not pregnant. With that, that ship has sailed. We are we are quite happy with our beautiful little girl and with our family as it is. So here's the news. Okay, a couple things. One, I mentioned last night, David Rodriguez is going to be on the Truthcast next week. We're going to ask him about his time in Vegas, and we're going to get caught up with him. A true fighter, a true patriot, a true warrior in this fight. We have reached out to Julie Harris has reached out to the writer of The Matrix. The real writer of The Matrix. And that's a very interesting story. I'm going to have a conversation with him probably before we have him on next week. So I have reached out to him. We've also reached out to Scott McKay and invited him on the broadcast. That was through Kathy Acevedo. So thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. By the way, Richard Presley, reach out, Richard. I miss you, buddy. On getting us David Rodriguez as well. And I believe, and this is just I am 99.9% sure that this time tomorrow night when we gather on a Friday night, that we will be able to order our first t-shirt, the Indoctrination Snedheads t-shirt. And that is going to happen tomorrow night. I was hoping that it would tonight, but that was not in the works, but in the stars, I should say. But that's going to happen. So, and that will be the first, and it'll be OG. You guys will be able to say, I'm OG Snedhead, I'm OG The Indoctrination, David Snedeker, and it's gonna be awesome. So awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Awesome, guys. Yeah. So I love you, Cindy. Thank you. So yeah, and by the way, and then we're gonna roll out some great stuff this weekend as well. Saturday morning, we're going to do a Healy call at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is going to be anybody who is having difficulty with pain, having health issues that are awaiting the med bed. Imagine how many other people are awaiting the med bed. This is a med bed in the palm of your hand that hooks up to some wires. You put it on your wrist or you put it on the spot. It is a frequency device that balances the frequencies, and actually, depending on which one you get, the one that I have that that we actually won because of that you bought it is called the Resonance. Okay. And the Resonance is the one that that will actually tell you what you need. Okay. And so, and so if you go to theindoctrination.com, go to Marketplace, and you scroll down and you see the Healy options up until March 2nd. There, you see these prices are very, very good. So that's my commercial for the day. But trust me, guys, when I tell you that this device is flying off the shelves because of the word of mouth, because of the transformation that it's making in people's lives. It is an FDA registered pain healing device, not healing device, but a pain mitigating device. So if you have pain, Cindy's used it. So many people, I've heard stories about how it's reduced their pain significantly. Okay, so I wanted to share that, get the good news out of the way there, and we are off to the races here, folks. Um, let's get into what's happening in the world right now, which is can be crazy making. Am I right? It can be crazy making if you don't have the right attitude. Okay, so I want to get into the military. Okay, I want to get into the military. I just mentioned I was going to get into that because I know many of you have questions. Okay, about the military. All right. Annie, it's not a tens machine. It's a frequency device. A tens machine is just electrical current. This is a frequency. This actually shifts your frequency. Yeah, it's Jerry. If you want to tune into Saturday morning, you can find out more about it. But yes, it basically puts your body in a frequency of healing, so the body can heal. That's really what it's all about. And let me I'm going to put this in the comments here so that you guys can see it, and just save it, and then you can just dial into that with your phone. I just dropped it here in the restream.io in the blue there, you see, and you can tap into that Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, let me get into the military. All right, now what we're looking at right now. Let me just take you to the Biden launches airstrike against Iran-backed militia in Syria. Okay, the Pentagon conducted airstrikes against Iran-linked militias in Syria on Thursday in one of the first known military actions ordered by President Biden, days after militias launched rockets at U.S. forces in Iraq as tensions between Iran and the United States continue to simmer. Okay. The airstrikes destroyed several structures used by Iran-backed Shia militias operating on the border between Syria and Iraq. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby announced in a statement Tuesday evening. The news was first reported by Reuters. Folks, let me tell you about a quick story about Reuters. Okay. All right. Reuters is owned by the Rothschilds. Okay, let me get into this real quick. Okay, Reuters is owned by the Rothschilds. Okay, they were first to report this story. Let me tell you another story that they were first to report. Mayor Rothschild, Mayer. He wasn't an actual mayor. He was a citizen of England. Mayor Rothschild was very, very wealthy. Okay, very wealthy. One of the wealthiest guys in England, if not the wealthiest. There was a war between England and France when Napoleon was in power in France. So there was a battle, okay, and it was Waterloo between France and England. Okay, now England, Rothschild was funding both sides of that war, just like the globalists do, just like the elite do. They fund both sides of the war. Okay, and I haven't told this story in a while. It's a little. Forgive me for just kind of stumbling here a little bit. But basically, what happened was, Rothschild had it set up so that he would get word first of who won the war, won the battle. Okay, because the battle was so significant that the winner of the battle was going to be the winner of the war. So he had couriers on horseback get back to him and let him know that England won. And this was, the morning of a day, and he also stopped any other word getting out to anybody else. So they controlled the flow of information. So Rothschild got word that England won. So what did he do? Remember, information is so powerful, right? That's why I don't want any walls between you and information when it comes to me. Your donations are just out of the goodness of your heart, the transfer of energy. This is a free broadcast, and I want to keep it that way because there should never be a barrier between you and real information. He stopped all information getting to England except his courier that got him the news that England won the war. He had his agents, his brokers, down on it was England's version of Wall Street then. The stock exchange started in England. So he had his people start to sell all their stocks. Everybody else saw them selling their stocks. And they thought, Rothschild is financing this war. He knows what's going on. England must have lost the battle to Napoleon. Everyone sold their stocks. By the end of the day, the market had crashed because everybody was selling and people couldn't even sell anymore. So the stock market had crashed. But before the market closed, Mayor Rothschild had his agents buy up everything they could. The next morning, by the next time the next morning came around, word had gotten back that England had won the war. So guess what happened to the stock market the next morning? Shot through the roof. And Rothschild owned everything. Okay? So much so that the Bank of England needed a loan from Rothschild. Okay? And he said, okay, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to lend you the money, but you have to provide collateral. Okay? Not land, people. The taxes that they pay you, the money that they pay the monarch, the money that they pay the government, now will come to Rothschild because he lended them this money, and that's their collateral. And that began the enslavement of humanity through taxation and through actual it was long before that there was taxation involved, but this was the kind of taxation that Rothschild was able to do because now he was printing money for the Bank of England. And so all the interest on that money that was lended into the banks and into the marketplace, all that interest was paid by the citizens of England back to Rothschild. And then it became the same situation in the United States, okay, before the revolution. So that was the beginning. So here we are, Reuters, and we think we've advanced, okay? Over hundreds of years, we think we've advanced. No, the Rothschilds are still getting the first word about this particular war, okay? All right. So again, it's the control of information. Okay. It's the control of information. Now, let me take you back to Reuters breaking this story. Kirby cast the strikes as defensive and proportionate, moving along several rocket attacks on American facilities in the Iraq cities of Baghdad and Erbil this month. The airstrikes were meant to deter future attacks against U.S. targets without seriously escalating tensions in Iraq and Syria, Kirby said. The White House vowed Tuesday that the groups responsible for those rocket attacks, believed to be Shia militias underwritten by Iran, which means they were underwritten by Obama and Biden, okay, with all the money that they gave them back in the day, will be held fully to account. The operation sends an unambiguous message. President Biden will act to protect American and coalition personnel, Kirby said in a statement. At the same time, we have acted in a deliberate manner that aims to de escalate the overall situation in both eastern Syria and Iraq. U.S. officials told the New York Times Biden was presented with several possible targets, and he signed off on striking the smallest one. Okay. Iran's paramilitary Quds force supports several militia groups operating in Syria and Iraq, where they fight the Islamic State, support Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, and extend Iran's influence over Iraq. These groups have been repeatedly accused of attacking U.S. military targets in Iraq in recent years, partly to avenge the U.S. killing of Quds force leader Qasem Soleimani in earlier 2020. Former President Donald Trump returned fire with several airstrikes last December, but Thursday's mission appears to be the first strike directed by Biden. But I don't think so. Okay. The airstrike could signal a willingness by Biden to counter Iran's influence on Iraq, especially if it clashes with the U.S. presence. Biden's first few weeks in office were relatively muted compared to Trump's thinly veiled threats against Iranian officials' repeated vows to retaliate for Soleimani's killing. Okay? Now, what's important to remember here, okay, let me continue on. This is good information. Secretary Defense Austin addressed Syrian airstrikes, telling reporters with him, "We're confident in the target we went after. We know what we hit. We're confident that target was being used by the same Shia militia that conducted the airstrikes, and calling today's strikes very deliberate." Biden hopes to reopen negotiations over Iran's nuclear program, aiming to return to an international deal signed by former President Obama but revoked by Trump. Progress has proven elusive so far. Iran encouraged Biden to act first by lifting some of the sanctions Trump placed on the country, and Iranian officials restricted their cooperation with international nuclear inspectors this week. So they restricted their cooperation already. This was CBS. Iran takes new cautious step away from nuclear pact as Biden tries to open talks. So you see, they're already changing. They're stepping away from allowing investigators to get in and actually see what's going on in there. Okay, now, so let's talk about the military. Now, we've talked about how we believe that President Trump is in control of the military. Okay, we've also talked about so many things that just don't show that Biden is the president right now. And we truly believe that that these actions are being implemented by President Trump now, and that he's coming back in March. The reason that I think the military, okay, did this is because there had to be a retaliation against Iran for the strikes that they did. And they picked a small one, and I think that might be intentional to show Biden's weakness. Okay, even though they struck the smallest target, and he's still trying to open negotiations when Iran is already not allowing inspectors in. Okay, they're restricting their cooperation. And they're the ones dictating what's going to happen. They're the ones that are saying that if you release the sanctions, then we'll talk, right? So who's controlling who here? Okay, what's important to understand is that Iran has a tremendous amount of dirt on Biden and Obama because of the money that was sent to them, because of the Iran nuclear deal that was implemented, that was constructed by the Obama administration, which obviously Biden was a big part of. Okay, so I think these actions are actually directed by Trump, and that they're showing us what we need to see right now. Okay, now If I'm still telling this story in June, okay, then turn the channel. Okay, honestly, like if I'm still telling this story in June, then there better be a damn good reason for it. Because I think what's going to happen is that he's going to be back in March or April. And what's going to be really interesting is what we see happening at CPAC this weekend. And I'm not going to say that he's going to come on and give us a comm. There are no outside comms, but coming directly from him, that's not an outside comm, right? But the other thing too is that we have to be shown so many things. Because 17 has said you can't tell them, you must show them, right? And so what they're doing is they're showing us across all aspects of look at big pharma. Look what Biden did with big pharma. He got rid of the price restriction on the medicine, on the EpiPen, and on insulin. And so the prices of that are going through the roof. So he's showing the collusion with the left, with the big pharma. He's showing it with other countries like Iran and like China. Like, look at what Biden said about the Uyghur situation. Each country has cultural differences. Are you kidding me? People are being slaughtered and organ harvested out of their live bodies and raped and murdered and enslaved to the tune of 2 to 3 million human beings, and that's a cultural difference. What a spineless piece of shit Biden is, or at least his double is. And so we're being shown the reality of this. And look at this war that, President Trump was the first president in modern history to not get us into war and actually pulled us out of wars. And look at Biden getting us into a war. Why? Because that's weakness. Did Iran pull this shit when Trump in office? No. Why? Because Trump said he would level them. Trump said that he would hit them with more force than they've ever seen in their lives. I can't remember the exact quote. If you guys have the exact quote, please send it to me, especially if he's saying it himself. I'd love to see that. So, see, weakness, folks, is what causes wars. And also corruption, right, causes wars. And so that's what they're showing us with this. Okay, this is, again, they're showing it to us. Christy, thanks for dropping that. Excuse me. Now, I want to go stepping away from the war. I want to go to this is brand new news, and you and I are familiar with this kind of news. This is the former U.S. Olympics gymnastics coach John Geddert has killed himself by committing suicide after human trafficking and sexual assault charges. Okay, this is he killed himself by committing suicide. That's funny. Somebody said, killed himself by committing suicide. Is there another way to do it? Carl Jove said that. So this guy, all right, how many charges? I want to see the charges that this guy had. Christy, will you drop those for me, please? This guy, sexual abuse and human trafficking. Human trafficking, okay? This guy, we didn't even know his name before this went down. Maybe some of you did. I didn't. But this is one of those that these people are starting to fall. We've shown you on this broadcast the amount of sheer amount of people that have absolutely been arrested because of human trafficking and sexual abuse and pedophilia and all these horrendous things that are being done to the innocents of this world. All right, you know, yeah, I do want to show this. Scott Baio, Trump, 4 years, no war. Joe Biden, a little more than a month in. Here we go. Syria, right? The party of love, peace, and tolerance at work. So they're showing us that, look, they're going into war. They're going into war, folks. And so the actions of Iran are that of Joe Biden's in power. The actions of President Trump are that's the reaction that you have to have, but we're going to show a weak reaction because we're going to show how it's going to escalate, right? We're going to show how it's going to escalate. So, so that's unbelievable. Now, I want to be careful about how we talk about this, the following topic here. But I want to show you the indoctrination, and I'm not going to say much about it because you're going to figure it out for yourself. Okay, I just want to show you an interview between the esteemed Reverend Al Sharpton, okay, and Kamala Harris on MSNBC. And I'm going to just let you watch this, and you're going to just
we are in the midst of a pandemic. We are disproportionately impacted in the black community, but as you said, 500,000 people have died. And putting the politics aside, this is a real human crisis. And in the black community, we've had the problem of hesitancy and questioning and given a bad history, there's no reason why we wouldn't. But you've been that champion of trying to convince us, including people like me that were reluctant, and you're doing something specific. Tell us about Thursday.
So Thursday, I'm going to visit a pharmacy, which is one of the hundreds that we are directly getting vaccinations to get vaccines to, so folks can get vaccinated in their communities. So we have actually distributed 2 million vaccines to local pharmacies in communities. We're also getting at least 1 million vaccines to community health centers, those trusted places in the community where folks go for their health care. And the point, Rev, is this. I got vaccinated. I can tell you, first of all, that these vaccines are safe. It will save your life. There is a black woman.
Hold on. We're going to come back to that. So, I didn't realize that she had gotten vaccinated because I saw this. Hold on a second. What's going on? Okay. Let me see if I can watch this. This is her getting vaccinated. Can I make this bigger? Hold on.
That was easy. That was easy. That was easy.
That was easy. You know why it was so easy? By the way, the other thing is, watch when she pulls it out of her arm. It actually goes like, she pulls it out like here, like there. Like it doesn't come out like that. It just goes off to the side. So keep an eye on that. Wish I could make it bigger. I can't. Watch how it comes out right now. Kind of came off to the back there, and then what's going on there? Okay. All right. That was easy. That was easy. That was so easy. Okay. So easy. And let's try that again. Let's go back to her interview with Reverend
First of
Al.
all, that these vaccines are safe. It will save your life.
They're safe and they save your life. This is Dr. Harris.
There is a black woman, Dr. Kizzy Corbett, who was part of the.
This is when she goes into black talk mode.
There is a black woman, Dr. Kizzy Corbett, who was part of the team of scientists who created this vaccine, and it will save you.
There was also a black woman who talked about HCQ, okay, and almost 10 months ago, and was banned from all social media and got us banned off all platforms, okay. And she was talking about how HCQ, and now the American Journal of Medicine is saying that HCQ is very effective at combating this. So, yeah. So listen, this is
your life. Yes, we must speak truth about the history of medical testing in this country. We must be honest about the fact that people have a right.
We must be honest about the history of medical testing in this country, okay? Like, for example, the precursor of the CDC was a group that gave the black community in Tuskegee, Alabama, I believe, they gave them all syphilis. And they wanted to watch what they did, watch what happened. They treated some, they didn't treat others. They watched them die. They watched them die miserable deaths. This was the beginning of the CDC. So the history of medical testing in this country has not been good for the black community, folks. And autism, the
history of medical testing in this country. We must be honest about the fact that people have a righteous.
By the way, I am making no medical claims about the effectiveness of vaccines or the ineffectiveness of vaccines. I am showing a communication happening on MSNBC, and I'm talking about the real life happenings of doctors who have been persecuted for talking about a treatment that was buried and is now being heralded by many in the medical community and the American Journal of Medicine as being effective means. So I am just stating the news. My opinion here is neither that they are effective or ineffective or harmful or not harmful.
Skepticism about how it has been used, how it has been tested, and on whom it will be used. There is a righteous skepticism if you know history. But I promise you, and I am telling you, this vaccine is safe, and it will save your life.
I've forgotten more history than this woman knows.
And the lives of your family and your community, and we have it within our power to actually do that. So get your vaccination when it is your turn. It will save your life.
You know, as I said, I've been out there dealing with COVID-19 testing, but I was skeptical about the vaccine. Mm-hmm. But you turned me around. You talked to me. And while you out there at the pharmacy, I got a couple of ministers. Mm-hmm. We're going to Harlem Hospital at the same time you out there and get vaccinated, my first shot, because the vice president told me to do it. I think that
that's right.
That's part of.
Wow. Wow. 17 told us about these people that you see there on your left that would be used in the media to garner the support of the black community, and the woman on the right.
Would you bring to that office? And as we continue fighting on other things, voting and all of that, the first thing we have to do is be here and be alive.
But that's right, Reverend. Here's the thing. Let's not let COVID get us.
I love the black talk that she does. I love it. Love it.
Voting and all of that, the first thing we have to do is be here and be alive.
But that's right, Reverend. Here's the thing. Let's not let COVID get us. Let's get the vaccine instead, right? Let's not let this thing get us. We know black people are disproportionately likely to contract the virus and die from it.
Really? Show me those statistics.
We know when you look at who the frontline workers are, who have been...
Maybe because you're poisoning them with food and with their water and with their alcohol and that you have, 7-Elevens and, and liquor stores at every corner in the inner cities instead of, health food stores and education and inexpensive organic food that they should be able to afford and should be able to buy with food stamps or on welfare, or even those that are buying them for themselves in the inner city should be able to afford really good food. But that's not what they're provided, and that's not what they're able to afford.
Most at risk. Disproportionately, we are talking about people of color. When you look at the fact that black small businesses, as many as I've seen, 40%, are going out of business or have gone out of business, it is disproportionately affecting us. And if we want to get control of this virus that is harming us at a disproportionate rate, part of it is to get vaccinated when it is our turn. Part of it is to wear your mask. I have my mask right here. To wear your mask all the time when you are around other people.
How's that working for us, guys? How's the mask working for us?
6 feet of distance. Wash your hands with warm or hot water and soap. Let's save our lives. That's what this is about. We're going to get beyond this. And part of what the president and I are offering as part of the relief is the American Rescue Plan, to say it can't only be on folks. It has to be all of us working together. So that's what everybody needs to do as an individual: get the vaccine, wear a mask, social distancing, wash your hands. What we need to do is pass the American Rescue Plan, so we can get those $1,400 checks to folks, so we can save our small businesses, so that we can pass the child tax credit, so that families can lift half of American children who are living in poverty out of poverty. Let's extend the unemployment benefits. Let's do all of these things, partnering together, so that we can get through this moment of crisis. Because I'm telling you, I have faith. I believe in our ability to get through this and to be better on the other side if we all work together to lift folks up and to lift ourselves up when we have the opportunity.
Staggering. The level of the indoctrination is staggering. Do you see why she was chosen? Do you see why she was chosen? You see why she was chosen. Yeah. You see why they're doing this? You see why they're doing this? The indoctrinated are lining up like sheep. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Again, I make no judgments on the efficacy of vaccinations on this channel. That I believe, testing needs to be done on a large scale, and I believe the awareness must be present, and I believe the ingredients must be presented. I believe that you should really, learn as much as you can about these any medical device or medical treatment. before you get involved. So that's what I have to say about that. In hopes that that the censors don't take the information that I'm giving you in the wrong way and send us to censorship hell. So okay, so yeah, that's why she was chosen. Yeah, and the amount of money that they're giving us is ridiculous, right? Um, Duda and Maf. Yes, we've talked about the nano chips on the swab, um, and 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 I said this long ago that we've got to keep an eye out for that because they have figured out that they're not going to necessarily be able to give everybody the jab, but they are going to be able to get more people tested than actually jabbed, and so that they're going to go along those lines. Okay, I want to go back to this guy. And his charges against him. Okay, as to before he took his own life. This is, and then I'm going to get back to. We're going to get back to um, Congress today. Force, fraud, and coercion. Michigan AG presents 24 charges against ex-gymnastics coach John Geddert. Okay, Lansing, Michigan. An associate of Larry Nassar and former U.S. Olympic gymnastics coach has been charged with several felonies, including human trafficking and sexual assault. Let me see. Let me see how long this is.
The charges against Mr. Geddert are the result of a great deal of hard work by my investigators and prosecutors, and I'd like to express my gratitude to their devoted service. And that includes our victim's advocate, Becca Snyder, our special agent, Bridget Frost, Assistant Attorney General Danielle Bennett, Assistant Attorney General Kelly Carter, Sheriff's Office. Open it up to questions.
By the way, I thank all those folks, but we're not going to do it now.
General. First up with questions, we will have Christiana Ford from WILX. Following Christiana will be Jim Kurtzner from WXYZ. Christiana, you can unmute.
Training for financial benefit to him. Young athletes that came to him for gymnastics training for financial against the young athletes that came to him for gymnastics training for financial benefit to him. The victims suffer from disordered eating, including bulimia and anorexia, suicide attempts and self-harm, excessive physical conditioning, repeatedly being forced to perform even when injured, extreme emotional abuse, and physical abuse, including sexual assault. Many of these victims still carry these scars from his behavior to this day. Now, I think it's important to note that human trafficking can affect all types of people. We think of it predominantly as affecting people of color or those without means to protect themselves from this type of crime, but honestly, it can happen to anyone, anywhere. And just like the perpetrators of domestic violence and sexual assault, traffickers can seize an opportunity at any time and use the vulnerability of their victims to their advantage. Young, impressionable women may at times be vulnerable and open to trafficking crimes, regardless of their stature in the community or the financial well-being of their families.
All right, thank you, Christiana. Next up is Jim Kurtzner. Following Jim will be Anna Nichols from AP. Jim, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Attorney General. Can you expand on a few of these counts, particularly the human trafficking? You just mentioned that this included a component for financial gain. Are you alleging that Dr. Nassar paid this defendant some money directly to have access to these young women? Is that one of your allegations? Number two, you're saying in these counts, first and second degree CSC. So are you alleging, and can you expand on this, that the owner of Twistars also had allegedly had sex with these young women? And how do you respond to Gettert in the past has said that he had zero knowledge of what Dr. Nasser was doing inside his facility? Those three questions. Thank you.
Jim, at this point, I'm going to have to indicate that all of the facts will be proven in court, and we look forward to the testimony of what I believe will be many, many witnesses that will testify and therefore prove the elements that I have that are a component, of course, of each and every one of these charges. But we're going to let the testimony speak for itself.
All right, next up is Anna Nichols from AP. Eric Lloyd from 9 and 10 News will follow. Go ahead, Anna.
Hello, Attorney General. My question is, with the forced labor charges, where does that really come from? Is that the strict coaching nature, and how has that been used? Has that charge been used before in other athletic situations? As we saw with the Nasser case, toxic athlete culture is very prevalent. So I'm wondering where the forced labor is coming from.
Well, I will say that while we acknowledge that these charges are, when I say unusual, they have not typically been used and applied to the set of circumstances that I think exists in this case. But, you know, we spent many, many months reviewing the law, reviewing case law, and reviewing the facts and analyzing them extensively. And we do believe that the human trafficking charges are applicable to the set of circumstances that, you know, you'll be hearing about once all the evidence is produced in court.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me close this down. So this is, you know, somebody mentioned, do you have any good news? You know, because with all this bad news, I think it's all good news. Okay. Biden has been exposed as a war hawk along with the Dems. Okay. Today. I'm going to show you some other things. Look at the sheer indoctrination between Kamala and Sharpton. Okay. The manipulation of the black community. Tragic. Okay. Look at, here's a guy who abused young, you know, children, and both through force, through sex, through trafficking, and he's exposed and he's eliminated this, you and I as taxpayers, from having to house, feed, and clothe this man for the rest of his life. Okay. And that is also sending a signal to the other people that are involved in these kind of behaviors of what's coming towards them very, very shortly. All right. So I did want to say this, that somebody asked, will I be on Sunday for President's speech at CPAC? I do want to find out if you guys know what time that is. I'd like to see if I would be able to do a live stream or at least do a broadcast after that. So please drop that in the chat if you would, as to what time that is on Sunday. Okay. Now, excuse me. Okay. Let me get to the following. Where did that go? Okay. I just lost something here that I want to get back to. Where is my, there it is. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Sorry, folks, I just lost my Facebook here. Hold on one sec. I want to get back to that. Now, I want to show you, here's another thing. Look at who was, I want to show you what, let me see, I just had this actually up, and it just disappeared, but it was basically Rand Paul and how he handled this person today. And let me pull that up for you here. And where is it? Christy also said these are from sealed indictments, folks, so they've been following this guy for a while. Thank you, Christy. And I am looking for Rand Paul, and I just had it here and it just disappeared. But I want to show you guys that, because that's absolutely huge. And so let me see if I can pull that back up. And I thought Breitbart had it. Let me see. Bear with me here, guys. And let's see. No, I don't want to do that. Here we go. Okay, here it is. Here it is. All right, I got you. Excuse me. Here we go.
Genital mutilation has been nearly universally condemned. Genital mutilation has been condemned by the WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Population Fund. According to the WHO, genital mutilation is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights. Genital mutilation is considered particularly egregious because, as the WHO notes, it is nearly always carried out on minors and is a violation of the rights of children. Most genital mutilation is not typically performed by force, but as WHO notes, that by social convention, social norm, the social pressure to conform, to do what others do and have been doing, as well as the need to be accepted socially and the fear of being rejected by the community. American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics. Dr. Levine, you have supported both allowing minors to...
Oh, you got to be kidding me. You're putting an ad in the middle of this, Breitbart?
Be given hormone blockers to prevent them from going through puberty, as well as surgical destruction of a minor's genitalia. Like surgical mutilation, hormonal interruption of puberty can permanently alter and prevent secondary sexual characteristics. The American College of Pediatricians reports that 80 to 95% of prepubertal children with gender dysphoria will experience resolution by late adolescence if not exposed to medical intervention and social affirmation. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I would look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question. Do you support the government intervening to override the parent's consent to give a child puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and/or amputation surgery of breasts and genitalia? You have said that you're willing to accelerate the protocols for street kids. I'm alarmed that poor kids with no parents who are homeless and distraught, you would just go through this and allow that to happen to a minor. I would hope that you would have compassion for Kira Bell, who's a 23-year-old girl who was confused with her identity. At 14, she read on the internet about something about transsexual. She thought, well, maybe that's what I am. She ended up getting these puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones. She had her breasts amputated. But here's what ultimately she says now. And this is a very insightful decision from someone who made a mistake but was led to believe this was a good thing by the medical community. I made a brash decision as a teenager, as a lot of teenagers do, trying to find confidence and happiness, except now the rest of my life will be negatively affected, she said, adding that the medicalized gender transitioning was a very temporary, superficial fix for a very complex identity issue. What I'm alarmed at is that you're not willing to say absolutely minors shouldn't be making decisions to amputate their breast or to amputate their genitalia. For most of our history, we believe that minors don't have full rights and the parents need to be involved. So I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field, and if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and talk with you and your staff about the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is a very specific one. Should minors be making these momentous decisions? For most of the history of medicine, we wouldn't let you have a cut sewn up in the ER, but you're willing to let a minor take things that prevent their puberty, and you think they get that back? You give a woman testosterone enough that she grows a beard, you think she's going to go back looking like a woman when you stop the testosterone? You have permanently changed them. Infertility is another problem. None of these drugs have been approved for this. They're all being used off-label. I find it ironic that the left that went nuts over hydroxychloroquine being used possibly for COVID are not alarmed that these hormones are being used off-label. There's no long-term studies. We don't know what happens to them. We do know that there are dozens and dozens of people who've been through this who regret that this happened and a permanent change happened to them. And, you know, if you've ever been around children, 14-year-olds can't make this decision. In the gender dysphoria clinic in England, 10% of the kids are between the ages of 3 and 10. We should be outraged that someone's talking to a 3-year-old about changing their sex. I can't vote for you if you can't.
Thank you so much, Senator Paul.
Contrast is necessary for a clear delineation between insane and sane. To have that kind of a contrast that we just witnessed just now in a person, excuse me, who is being nominated for a high-ranking position in our federal government, who uses rhetoric and platitudes when asked a direct question that involves minors. Okay? This is an attack on minors. What you just saw in Michigan with that coach and his treatment of minors, what they're doing in schools by teaching now in kindergarten in California, no genders. This person who is using, yes, I'd be happy to sit down with you and your staff and discuss these things. No, you don't discuss it. Hands off our fucking kids, you freak. Okay? And by the way, I'm not calling that person a freak because that person's choice to go from being a man to a woman, that's her choice, whatever pronoun is appropriate in this particular manner. I'm calling it a freak because of what they want to do to children, or to allow confused children even enter into the thought of changing their gender, which is like a very sane and very smart Rand Paul just exposed, right before our very eyes. I am glad that we're seeing such a contrast here. This is a very significant contrast that we are seeing. Okay? And we should be glad that we are able to witness this and expose it. Because before very recently, it wasn't exposed in this nature. Put them in power, it exposes them. It exposes them. Yeah. Yeah. So we, Kimberly, Trump doesn't need to do it now. They need to do it when they have to do it. We can't be making demands. This isn't about us. It's not about making demands. This is about, we have to do the best we can until enough has been done, exposed. This is a plan that is decades in the making that we must remember that we are a part of. Okay. And by the way, I was saying this needs to change now 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 8 years ago. Okay. And a lot of people even before me, where the hell were you? Where the hell was I? Still indoctrinated, still fully into the indoctrination. Okay. We must take responsibility that we've gotten to this point to begin with. That we've allowed this behavior. We've allowed these types of things to occur. And we've got to shift it. But we have to be a part of it. We have to be engaged in this process. I'm not picking on you, by the way, Kimberly. I'm not picking on you at all. I'm just stating a fact that I get a little annoyed sometimes when people are like, when people are saying, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do it now, which, no, you don't know. I don't know. We don't have enough information to know when it should actually happen. Right? Yes, we need to be, angry. We need to speak out. We need to show this person for who they are. Right? For what they're doing to the children. Expose. Absolutely. But where we're getting into trouble is when we're saying this has to happen now, this has to happen now. No, what has to happen now is we need to wake up everybody, and we need to make it a point to point people in the direction of this insanity so that they wake up along with us. And then we're ready whenever it is that they are going to take action. Right? And that's, that's why I'm responding to that the way I am, because there are people that, were ready for this a long time ago and we weren't. Okay. So now we're getting there. We're getting there, but there's some other people that still need to come along. Yeah. Yeah. We're here to facilitate. We're here to help. Yeah. And absolutely. It's part of the transhuman agenda, Leah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sue says, my niece wants to be a boy. She's so sad. She will be 18 soon. And by the way, here's something that we have to consider. There are different gendered fetal tissue in the shots that children are getting even before the CV that are shifting their bodies. They're shifting some of them, might be confused, or probably confused because of the agenda that's already taken place and what's been, put into their bodies. How about soy that has these estrogen mimickers that make feminize boys. That's why they call them soy boys. When you see a really feminine boy, chances are they've got a lot of soy in their diet, or they've had this shot that has the human fetal tissue DNA in the shot, and now with the CV, they're going to a whole nother level. So this is about really confusing humanity. It's about controlling humanity. It's about weakening humanity. It's about getting humanity to fight amongst ourselves. The fact that this conversation is actually happened today on the floor of the Senate is astounding. That we even have to have this conversation in the public spotlight. But here's the thing. We need that conversation in the public spotlight. We need this conversation in the public spotlight because it's not been in the spotlight as much as it needs to be. Because these are things that are taking place behind the scenes. These are things that are taking place and we are unaware of it because we're binge watching something on Netflix. And so we're not paying attention to how this community has taken over and is trying to allow children to be able to make these decisions for themselves. It's just, this needed to be brought out in the open. Can we just think about this in that way, that thank you, God, for bringing these absurd conversations into the light so we may all be able to see. And I tell you, if we weren't so pissed off, if we didn't have so much time on our hands because of the CV-19, we would not be awake. Last year, more human beings were awakened than ever before in human history. That is the Great Awakening. We are part of the Great Awakening. And look at the conversations that we're seeing brought out into the light and exposed. This is awesome. This is awesome because it will not stand in a civilized and just society. And that's exactly where we're going. Hey, Todd, Cindy, why don't you call in on Messenger if you would? Want to get you in before it gets too late here, and talk about a few things. Yeah, Luna, it's being exposed. Yeah, I'm so grateful, guys. I am grateful. Right? Yeah, Cynthia, these brainwashed, crazy, uneducated fools drive me off the bend. I can't keep. I keep wearing my Trump hat everywhere, my Trump shirt, and tell everyone I can. Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic work. We've got to get it out there. Yeah. So it's crazy. It's crazy. But we need it. We need to bring it into the light, right? We need to bring it into the light, right? And that's, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because the things that I found out were just so disturbing. And the more I talked with one person, some people I would shift. Some people would think, hey, well, let me look into that. Send me something. But, doing it one at a time wasn't going to cut it, right? Wasn't going to cut it. And so we're going to, I'm probably going to wear a shirt tomorrow night. So you'll see him tomorrow night. So what is it about the broadcasting to tens of thousands, sure, tens of thousands that absolutely shifts the whole thing. It shifts people's perceptions on a large scale, and that's a fantastic thing to have about now. So I'm grateful for all of you being here. We're up over 2,600 beautiful humans in the theater, and so and I look forward to Todd and Cindy, if you would call in on Messenger when you get a chance. And let me pull up what's happening here. Excuse me. And here is Patriot Mama. And here we go. Let me find you. Why isn't this showing up? Cindy, I don't know why that's not showing up. Hold on one second, please. For some reason, it's not coming through my Messenger audio. Open it up more. Okay. Hold on one sec, folks. There we go. I'll call you back, Cindy. Here we go. Oh, that's odd. All right, let me do this. That browser is not supported. That's why that was not coming through. All right. Let's try this again. And here we go.
Hello.
Hey, Todd. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, brother?
I'm doing well. Just absolutely aghast and excited at the same time at the level of insanity we're witnessing. What are your thoughts on it all?
Same. Unfortunately, we have to go through, such a bad time to get to the good. And my heart goes out to Vicky and her father and his passing. And it's this is so big right now that I think sometimes people don't realize. And I'm not trying to overstate it, but by any means, but this is the biggest thing that's ever happened in human history, in my opinion. And since it has to be done right. As much as it, I feel just like everybody else. I feel like I've had way more than enough. But that's not the issue. It's not to wake us up. And unfortunately, we deal with a lot of real pig-headed people in our lives, and they won't listen no matter how honestly and how sincerely we approach them and say, please, for the love of God, listen to what I'm telling you. And you get that, okay, whatever, just get it out. I'm not going to listen to it anyway. But, and something has to be able to break through that shell. And it's not going to be us. I think it's going to be their indoctrination device that they've been staring at their whole lives, just like we did until we broke free from it.
Right.
I think it's got to come out on the television. They're using the television now. Look at what's happening to Cuomo. Look at what's happening to Newsom. He's going to be recalled. Look at how Kamala, whatever that is, how stupid and how fake she was with non-Reverend Al. I mean, look at this stuff. Look at the people they're trying to put into positions, and look at Joe, fake Joe, saying that he's not going to rule by executive order or actions, and that's the first thing he does. I won't be a dictator, yet he does. It's just so absurd when you're awake to see this stuff play out like this. It's just about what we figured, I think, Dave.
Yeah.
God, this is. I thought that honestly, Biden would have to look like he is flying the plane into a mountain. The plane being the country, and we're seeing it.
You know,
I mean, he couldn't have.
I
He
didn't
hasn't
know.
done one thing right.
No, and I didn't know obviously how far they were going to go with this, right? I didn't think, and this is part of the lack of knowing enough about it that should tell
Right.
us that okay, obviously we didn't know enough about it that that they had to let him step into office, right?
Yep. Yep.
And but now that they've let him step into office, doesn't it make it more clear, right? That look
Absolutely.
what's happening. Look at the insanity that we're seeing, right?
There can't be many people left that are actually cheering this on.
Right. Right.
There can't be. I mean, not that there were as many as they ever said to begin with, but could you imagine, being a liberal and voted for Joe, and you're having your cup of coffee in the morning and you see the replay of what you just put on, and it's on mainstream media.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's gonna be sitting, with a child, with a grandchild, and be on the side of the dude, giving platitudes.
Yeah, you got the family sitting down. The kid you just gave your beautiful son or daughter some fruity pebbles and got their book bag ready for school, and you're sitting.
You broke up, bud. Did I lose you? Todd, did I lose you? Hey, pal, try on Telegram, would you? Try calling in on Telegram. And I think I'm going to try. Let me try to call you guys on Telegram. Let's see how that sounds. You guys let me know how that sounds, please, when it comes on, when they come on. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, let's try this, see how this sounds.
All righty.
Go ahead, continue. You got cut off. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, yeah. I was on a roll. I forgot what I was saying, though. Where was I?
Exactly.
Well, I just, it comes down to, the family sitting down and the kid having the fruity pebbles.
Yeah.
And then can you imagine the two parents looking at their child and thinking, next week, Johnny might decide to become Joanne, and he has state support to do it.
Yeah.
And this has got to come to where it's a tabletop discussion. It's a wife and no matter how liberal they are.
Yeah.
They've got to look at each other and go, we can't go with this, right? I mean, it's got to start sinking in.
Dude, I can't believe you said fruity pebbles in this analogy.
That's good.
Yeah, on two levels. First of all, if you're feeding your kid fruity pebbles, you got bigger problems. You got bigger fish to fry. But the other thing is just the fruity pebbles.
You said fish, so stop it.
What's that?
Oh, nothing.
Yeah.
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 That's funny.
Yeah. So, yeah. So,
I think that's what it's come down to. It's got to be, and what I'm really excited about is it's the mainstream media doing it. It's not, it
yeah.
doesn't have to anymore because we're seeing this all over the place.
Yeah. And we're starting to see them, like you mentioned Cuomo. We're starting to see them eat their own, right?
Exactly.
Jake Tapper the other night, and then at what point are these pundits, these people, at what point are they going to be, saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe that Cuomo did this," and I can't, but then they're going to be exposed because they knew about it.
Right. Right. Yep.
So
that's how it's
every once in a while.
yeah, so this is they're gonna be exposed in a very very big way very very soon. Wow, thank you, my dear.
And I really, really, really understand where everybody is.
Love you.
Thinks it, been so much. It's been hard to go through. And, I agree, but it's not our choice. And I guarantee you there's people that are probably even listening to this broadcast that have heard enough of this and have said, can you imagine knowing about this 50 years ago? Because I think it goes back that far.
Yep. Yep.
They're can you imagine? I mean, I couldn't even imagine trying to set this plan up. I mean, it's definitely, God has his hand in this. Anybody that doesn't think this is a spiritual war and this goes biblical, when 17 says biblical, he doesn't mean like it's like the Bible or it's similar to. This is basic prophecy being, we're living the prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah. We're living through it.
It's serious. I mean, it's serious. It's so serious. It's the one thing that I look back on though, Dave, is we were so lucky to have a guiding force, giving us information. I mean, if we didn't have that and we were, I could even imagine where I'd be if I didn't dive into, the information that we got and disseminate it and at least have an inkling of what was going on.
Hey, just another example of the sheer lunacy that we're witnessing. What the heck am I seeing on Cindy's telegram here with Biden? This watch this, folks. This is unbelievable.
Every once in a while, as president, you get to invite close friends into the Oval.
What the hell is on his head?
Oh, is that the black spot?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't even caught up with it, but I remember that. Yeah, he had like looked like somebody got some black spray paint and sprayed his head, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, Todd, if we weren't shown what we've been shown on such an enormously large scale, I'd be really pissed right now and I'd be really upset and I'd be like, what the hell's going on? We're losing our country. We're not losing our country. We're exposing our country. We're exposing our country. We're exposing our country. And all the people on one side and all the people on the other side, there's a clear and huge delineation. And what people don't realize is how many are actually on our side. They're sitting, like you said, they're sitting down with having a meal with their family, and they're looking at this Rand Paul situation, and they're like, what the hell? What the hell's going on?
Talk about red pill material, huh?
It's red pill material, like you said, coming from the mainstream media. The video I showed of Kamala getting her jab, that was C-SPAN.
Right.
Okay? That was there. All the ones that we've shown getting their jab, we've shown multiple people getting the jab, and it was all staged.
And how those have we seen? I mean, tip on, didn't put it in the arm, no needle.
Yeah.
Didn't squeeze it in, didn't do a proper procedure for giving a shot,
Didn't wear gloves, was sitting in a recliner, comes out of the English hospital to her children, so excited, and she's 90 and her children are in their 20s. I mean, folks, you'd be, if Todd and I were writing that script, and Todd would be like, so who did you cast as her children? And I'd be like, oh, they're in the next room. Let me introduce you to them, right? And you'd be like, dude, they're in their 20s. She's 90. Have you lost your mind? Call our casting agent, our casting director, fire them, and get a new casting director. Okay? It doesn't work that way. So
it's like the people that they did for a lot of their FFs, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
They're horrible.
Yeah.
You go over here and point at the man that just shot her, supposedly.
Yeah.
And go, look, say these words. And then, oh my God, it's so scripted. Everything is scripted.
Yeah.
Everything is scripted.
Yeah. Speaking of scripted, check this out. Joe Biden tweeted, Trump's erratic, impulsive actions are the last thing we need as commander-in-chief. No president should order a military strike without fully understanding the consequences. We don't need another war in the Middle East, but Trump's actions toward Iran only make that more likely. That was June 19th. Okay. I'm sorry, the 22nd of June, 2019. Stacy Blue says that tweet didn't age well. Way to go, Stacy. Fantastic.
How can you make a statement in this type of day and age that we live in about, medical statements? This will save your life.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. And by the way, this from my buddy Craig Allen Campbell. This badge will allow you to go back to work, travel, buy, sell, and trade. All it will cost you is your soul. And it's literally the yellow patch that the Jews had to wear in the 1930s Germany. And it says vaccinated 2020 ID number V123666 with a little chip. Brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant, because that's what we're looking at.
Absolutely.
Hey, bud, can you mute when you're not talking, because we're getting that background again?
Huh. I hear it on your end this time too. It sounds like a bunch of stuff moving around.
Is that right?
And I'm sitting quietly. There's not a sound here, but yeah, I'll mute and see if it's better.
Thank you, bud. And also, I want to show this. This is from Barrett Zeller from Jacob Dorr. The bottom of your post, they're pushing the hell out of the vax, and it says person with CV killed in car crash, died of CV. Healthy older person dies after getting the jab, died because they were old. And then underneath this meme, it's on Fascist book. It says approved CV-19 jabs have been tested extensively for safety and effectiveness. Source, World Health Organization. And then you can get the information. You can find out where you can get it. Again, Todd, we are not saying that these shots are not good for you.
No, not in any way.
No.
That's for everybody to make their own decision.
Yeah, we wouldn't do that. All right, I got to try Brussels sprout. Okay. Now we're talking. All right. I didn't get dinner before the show. So this is one of many of the, they're really pushing it. And there's another one underneath that, by the way. Let me show you that. This is his friend telling him, hey, at the bottom of your post, they're pushing this, but at the bottom of that post is another one. That's unbelievable.
Right. I had there was about a half hour. I watched some news the other night with my brother as I was letting him use the Healy to see if it would help him. And we were going through a session and I said, oh man, you're going to make me watch this news. And he was like, yeah. So we were watching it and it was David Muir and all they did was talk for the first like 15 minutes about, the jab. And they went to one other story and I said, oh, thank God they're off that subject. And then they went and did, how they always do, end up with the feel good story, the little minute feel good story at the end. And it was a feel good story about someone giving up their place in line so that another person could jump in line and get and it was 2 minutes at the end. I was like, oh my God. And then I was thinking to myself that I'd maybe make a public announcement that I am going to, for humanity's sake, Dave, and out of the goodness and kindness of my heart, I will be the last person on the planet to get the jab because I just feel that I should be last and everyone else deserves it before me.
Well, you know what? It's actually the Pfizer CEO he's already taken that spot.
Well, then I'm second to last.
Okay, because he said that he doesn't want to cut in line. Okay. So, all right. So listen, we need a little pick me up here, and I came across this meme. I got to share with you all, and help me figure this out, guys. Would you help me figure this out? This meme is it's a very strange one. Tell me when you got it.
Well, it's like a postage stamp size here. I can't even see what.
All right, look at the mitten down at the bottom.
Oh my God!
Is that too much?
Yeah. Yes, I love it.
This is this is what we're comparing it to here. There we go. There. Thank you for that one. That made my day.
He'll be on next week's episode of Swamp People.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my. Oh, that was something, man.
Well, the one thing we are getting is there's a lot of good memes out there now. We're seeing the comedic.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's the best one I've seen.
I like it because it makes you think a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So Debbie said, did the snake die? That's You know what I find is that that's basically socialism. That snake is the politician, and the politician left behind the glove for the other snakes. I think that's basically what we're looking at there.
The mitten, Dave.
The mitten. I'm sorry, the mitten.
That was what was so funny about the whole thing is, looked like his mom knitted his mittens for him.
I'm smitten with the mitten. I'm smitten with the mitten. Okay, so we've got yeah. So the memes are great. The we've got to have a sense of humor about this. This is these are the tanning beds that they're installing at Coca-Cola. Try to be less white. So that's good. I think they're installing those. That's from Brent Hall, and so I love it. I love it. I guess that they got to be less white there in Coca-Cola, and let me see. Oh, this is another one along the lines. Stacy Blue showed this one, and this is and this was it's a full court press, folks, on the shot. So Andrew Cuomo, New York governor, had a dog and pony show this morning to convince blacks to line up for the shot. They even had a dozen black leaders get the vaccine live on camera, although we know that's just saline. The desperation is very telling. What's really going on here? So this is the these are the black leaders that are being paraded in front of the black population. Why? Because the elite do not like they are racist, and so if they can call the black population, just like they've done with Planned Parenthood, murdering 63 million babies since Planned Parenthood has been around. That's probably a low number. This is not what they're wanting to. This is about calling the population, right? This is from Margaret Alford, and they want to get real mad. They're doing this to children, making them earn air. I am earning my mask break, 9:30 a.m., 11 a.m. And so they get marks. And if you get enough of the marks, you get a mask break. Folks, Deborah says, God help us all. Do you see the absurdity? Do you see that the parents, the people that are falling for this stuff? The people that are falling for this stuff, Todd, are the people that that deserved it. Honestly, I mean, it's really it's really come to that, and just to what it's doing to our children is absolutely tragic. I think they were going to change Mr. Potato Head today. I heard that. I think they changed that, but they were losing the potato-shaped plastic toy is getting a gender-neutral new name, Potato Head. That was on Fox 13, and there's I think that's since been said that's crazy. We're not going to do that. So that's the kind of thing that we're seeing, absolute craziness, and then they're reversing it.
So Dave, would that make them they Tato Head?
They Tato Head. Nice. This is the sun dimming that is happening. This is That's not the one I wanted to talk about, but basically, you're talking about what I did see was here's Gates, who is talking about solar power, and but he's also involved in the geoengineering of dimming the sun. So this is just these people are being exposed on a mass scale, Guys, please hit the like and subscribe on YouTube. We're at 2,734 beautiful humans here. And yes, please don't put out the mad faces, even though I know you're frustrated because that just